Yeah, I'll tell you, when you have a good tank, you don't really heal them. It
Yeah,
just you
it's the
don't.
same.
They're fine. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Same
exactly
as
the same.
before.
And then you get that 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 tanks that don't know what they either don't know how to keep their manage their blood shield or their I don't know, whatever the tanks are doing, not using ignore pain or something, right? Like, well, there's only 3 buttons for warrior. Like I mean, that's an exaggeration, but it's like, but you still get them, and it's so it's when you have a good tank, you don't need to heal them. They're fine.
Yeah, I would agree to an extent. I'm on the boat where these changes, I really do like them. And it's not that you don't heal them. I wouldn't say that, but it's not as bad as we thought it would be. Like I remember I was testing keys on the beta, and when they first implemented it, like tanks would fall over. You would tell like your both of your warriors to run in, your prot falls over, your other's fine. It was weird. But now that it's made it into live, like they've survived, they're fine. But I do like it as a healer because on like your resto druid, I remember I was playing that way back in like early Shadowlands. I loved the Verdant Infusion legendary that you would play because back then, like, say you're in Halls of Atonement, your tank runs in, he pulls all the bears, which are terrifying for tanks, and you just keep like 5 hots on your tank and you just keep refreshing them. And it's just
Mhm.
it just felt really engaging. But we kind of lost that throughout Dragonflight. It felt like every key had a Blood Death Knight and you just didn't really deal with it. But now it's like your tank is a Blood Death Knight until they're not. You kind of don't look at their health bar until you know that you have to. Like if there's this one tank buster, you kind of have to look at it, which to me
Mhm.
feels more like it's you're focusing on the mechanic of this is a tank buster, focus the tank kind of thing. But I like where they're at right now. I
Yeah,
don't know about you, Wolfie.
I'm actually on the same boat because
Okay.
tanks were very powerful in Dragonflight. Like I kept
Yeah.
saying, if there was no timer in Mythic Plus, they could just do all tank keys and they would be fine. It would take them like an hour probably to clean it because why would they need a healer and DPS? A bunch of monkeys that they have to deal with in the key, but they needed us because they couldn't meet the timer check, right? So I think that was way too powerful, and I'm welcoming changes like that because now I play tank a little bit. It's not a lot, but now you have to pay attention to what you're doing, right? Before you would be like running, I have aggro on everything. Okay, I can snore off until the pool is over. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
Now you actually have to like pay a little bit of attention. Press your buttons, use your defensives, right? This is actually quite good and welcoming. And as a healer, as Saucy J said, like if it's a good tank, you still don't have to heal them, right? Maybe you can throw a halt or something, and maybe okay, there's a tank buster, I need to throw a heal now. It's not like I have to spam them 24/7. If it's
Right.
a bad tank, then it's kind of the same. At least for me, it doesn't matter how much you heal them. You're probably going to break the key anyway, because you can only do that much. But I think the main problem that comes from this change is the fact that now I think there's much less tanks that are playing because
Right.
once you get into a certain level of keys, it becomes really hard to get into groups because there's less keys at that level, right? And people are more picky and stuff like that. That has always been the case for me. But this season, it feels like all across all the key levels, there's always, a bunch of keys there and there's no tanks. Like, and there's this
Well,
new
I
filter
I
thing.
have the answer. I know why that's the case. I've solved it. So I just pushed plus sixes on all of my alts. I've been pushing all these low level keys, and I was wondering why are there no tanks in higher keys? But it's because every time you get one of those tanks that Jay was talking about that runs in, falls over, is made of paper, doesn't know what their buttons do, they flame you and then they
Yeah,
leave
it's
and then
always
they
the
go
healer's
queue up for
fault.
another plus six. So they never improve because they never look inward and look at their own mistakes,
Mhm.
and they just stay at the plus six level. So if you want to find a lot of tanks, they're going to be bad, but they're playing like plus sixes, plus fives, plus twos. But that's where they are. They're not up in plus 12s, though,
All right, we found them,
unfortunately.
boys. We know where they are
Yeah.
now. Yeah, I'm kind of past the sixes though. I don't know how that sounds, but like I try to push hierarchies right now, even on my ults. And it's been the case, I'm sitting in queue trying to get into a key. If I'm on my ult, I don't get immediately invited, and then I finally get into a key, and then we spend 20 minutes more just waiting for a tank. And that's why the change is kind of having a negative effect, basically. Like, I like the change from gameplay perspective, but then it made it worse for bugging because now you're stuck in those queues for even longer times.